Lord, thank you for giving us another beautiful day, and thank you for giving us another day that you never promised us, Lord. And help us to always thank you for what we have and not always want more. And Lord, we want to ask you to come and touch this nation and heal this nation tonight, Lord. And help us turn back to you. And Lord, thank you for everybody's here tonight and their willingness to support this city. And we're going to ask you to bless us throughout each meeting and give us traveling grace on the way home. Thank you for the many things you've given us. For it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right. Now, first on the list is there anybody here concerning the Orion Group? We got a public hearing tonight.
Mayor, we're going to postpone that till the next meeting.
Okay, next is personal appearances.
Eric, will that be advertised in the paper before next month?
It will. We'll have to
Okay.
advertise.
All right.
Which one of y'all want to speak, Penny?
I will.
Okay.
So good evening, Mayor and Board. I am Penelope Blissett, and this is Cheryl Brewer. On March 3rd, Cheryl Brewer and Michael McPhail gave a presentation concerning a proposal for repurposing the B.F. Ford School. For this initiative to move forward, we are here today to request for a commitment to explore the building by a structural engineer or architect for a potential mutual management agreement to be established between the Multicultural Community Development Center and the city. And that's our request for tonight.
Okay, you're gonna need to clean it. Did y'all say something about trying to clean it up first so they can get around?
Yes, so in this particular initiative, we desire to renovate and restore the building to a space that is clean and usable. As of right now, the building is being used as a storage facility along with Head Start is in one side of the facility along with the Boys and Girls School. Our initiative is to have the Boys and Girls School, also the Head Start, to remain as they are, but to actually have a structural engineer to come in and assess the entire building.
And the cost of the engineer,
Right now, there is no cost. We are actually doing all we can to actually have it done for free or at a very minimal cost. So at this time, we're not requesting any funds from the city.
okay. What's the will of the board? Motion by Kevin Dale, second by Will. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Amy, I saw your mouth move, so I guess you did aye. Okay. All right.
All
Motion
right.
carries. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move to departmental business.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm muted. Yes, I said I am sorry.
Yeah, I thought you did. All right, Bill, we're gonna let you go first.
Thanks, Mayor.
Since you got an anniversary.
Yeah, it's a big day for Danita. She's blessed. Yeah, she's very blessed. Got a pretty light night tonight, Mayor. I've got the first three items are all pay requests. If I could maybe get those done together. Number 1 and 3 are for work on the wastewater treatment plant, KJAX Construction, and to Engineering Solutions. The second one is to Killing Construction. It is for the field lighting project we're doing with the county schools. If I can get those three approved for payment.
They have a motion by Keith, do I have a second? No. Second by Kevin D. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Motion
Aye.
carries.
Thank you. Hey, and I would like to give a little update on the wastewater plant. We got some pretty good news last week on that. The way the funding on that works, we got a grant from USDA, and then we have loan money, and we had to spend the loan money up front. And you know, we had a little bit of a delay on the project because we had to go back and seek some more funds, and the project kind of drug out a little bit. Well, when we first started on the project, the interest rate was 3.1%, and then when we hit the delay, it dropped down to 2.4%, which was really good. So now we've hit the tipping point where USDA is ready to, they take the interim finance from Bank of New Albany and turn that into the full, the full term USDA loan, and we start getting grant money. Well, on the USDA loan, now the interest has dropped down to 1.5%, and that's going to be for over 35 years. That's going to save us way more than the extra cost on the project. So sometimes these things, it's nice to be lucky sometimes. Yeah, I think, I don't know it could have worked out any better. So we did get good news on the interest rate. Still have to pay it back, but it's a lot less interest. Next item, we want to purchase a half-ton truck on the state contract for the gas department.
Have a motion by Will, have a second. Second by Johnny. Any other questions or discussion?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries.
The fifth item, and I think I've briefed the board members on it because this thing, it's a natural gas prepaid deal, and it's kind of, I call it an exotic financial transaction. I've dealt with these things over the years. We did them in Memphis and did it in San Antonio. We did one here about 3 years ago. We're teaming up with a group of the Municipal Energy Acquisition Company. They put together a lot of different municipal entities who have natural gas companies. And then they go through Southeast Alabama Gas. Again, that's another municipal entity. They actually, I guess, are the group that they'll sell bonds through, and I think it goes through Morgan Stanley as the bank. They sell tax-free municipal bonds, and it benefits the bank because they get to use the capital. So they save, I guess, on interest money over the money they normally have to use. They get this tax-free municipal loan, so they save money on interest. They turn that savings around, and they let this Southeast Alabama Gas Company just sell us discounted gas. So we sign an agreement with the with MEAC, this Municipal Energy Acquisition Company, to agree to buy a certain amount of gas, and it's well below our base load amount. Again, we did a similar agreement about 3 years ago, and we still have some room in our capacity numbers to accommodate another deal. So the savings is guaranteed to be at least 30 cents an MCF, which again, that may not sound like a lot, but when gas is only selling for like $2 an MCF, we can buy it 30 cents cheaper, and we just pass that straight through to the customers. So we don't make any money off of it. The city doesn't make any money, but we get to save money to the customers, by lower gas prices. There's no risk to the city. The debt does not go on our books. It's all the risk is on the bank, and in this case, that's Morgan Stanley. They carry all the risk. If the deal unwinds, they take care of the bonds. And as long as all the financial, as long as all the numbers work, we get the discounted gas. And if it gets to the point where they can't make that discount, then the deal just goes away. So again, there's really no risk to us. And we've already done one of these, and it was a really good deal. And I guess we did get our bond attorney, Brad Davis, to review this for us. He has looked at all the documents, and they again appear to all be in order. And this just allows us to kind of stay in. They're not quite ready to pull the trigger. They have to wait for all these market conditions to line up just right for the deal to go to market. This just keeps us in the game. So when the market conditions are right, they'll pull the trigger. I recommend us doing it. It's a good deal for our customers.
We have a motion by Johnny, I have a second. Second by Will. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Any opposed?
Mayor, if I could, I'd like to jump down the agenda. There's one more item that kind of relates to me because I may have to take off here in a couple of minutes. Under the action agenda, item A, the architect contract for Miscellaneous City Project. That is the contract for the group we selected to do the renovations on the Fred's building and the Wick building, Ely, Barkley, and Dale. They have been working on the project for several weeks now. You're trying to get the layouts for both buildings in place, and they've made a lot of progress on it. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks, maybe we'll have something we can share with everyone. We did start contract negotiations with them. The mayor and I and Reagan have talked to them, and we think we do have a good agreement worked out for the architectural services. Reagan, do you have any comments? I think we're all legal and good with the contract.
Yeah, everything was good. He was very accommodating about all of my questions and requests for minor changes.
Yeah, and the mayor and I we had some questions and worked through everything. Again, they've been very accommodating in meeting our requests. So I do recommend approval of the contract.
We have a motion by Johnny, I have a second. Second by Kevin Dale. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries.
Aye.
Okay. know the target date on when they might start, or?
Yeah, what they're telling us, Johnny, they're trying to get the kind of layout of all the buildings in place now. Then they're going to go to vendors and try to get some preliminary estimates on what the cost will be, just to kind of see if we're, where we are with our budget relative to the costs. And they're hoping by the end of the year, they'll be able to have everything advertised and have some contractors hired by the end of the year. So we'd start, right at the first of the year with renovations to the buildings. And again, I'm not sure what the build-out schedule will be. I'm sure it'll take at least, I'm guessing 6 to 9 months to build it out, just a guess. But they think they'll start in January. Mayor, is that your understanding?
Yeah, that's the way I understood.
But again, I hope to have something for y'all to look at maybe in a couple, 3 weeks on some of the layout stuff. And again, Chris, I think Chris is on the Zoom. He may have a comment or two about that. I know he's working with them as well. But anyway, it's progressing well so far. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Next, community development, business, you got anything?
I mailed you our reports earlier, there's just nothing to add.
All right, police department, new hire request. How am I gonna get Chris up here?
He should be on.
Chris, you there?
Yes, sir, can you hear me, Mr. Mayor?
Okay, yeah, I got you now. All right, well, we're down to police department new hire request, so we're gonna give it to you.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Board. We got a position that's come open in the police department, and I would request to hire Austin Kidd. He's from Egg Creek, North Pontotoc area. He's married, 1 child. He's currently working in law enforcement and wants to come work in the New Albany Police Department.
All right.
Be certified.
Is he already certified?
He is.
Okay, that's even better. I got a motion by Johnny, do I have a second? Second. Second by Will, any questions or discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, thank you, Chris. Is that all you got?
Mr. Mayor, I got one more fund came up today, kind of sort of, not to surprise the board, but we've been trying for several weeks to get some quotes for some more body cameras. Watch guard has been bought at my Motorola, which is complicated that issue, but at 10 o'clock today, we finally got some quotes in. And I talked to Mr. Frankie earlier today, and we have some money in the line item budget for small equipment. A few things will work. The amount is for 4 additional body cameras put in our inventory at $5,020. $5,020. In our budget, we currently have $4,800 in that line item, and request the board to be able to make that purchase, and the remainder $220 to be taken out of the task force.
So moved.
Did you make a motion, Amy? Okay. Okay, does anybody want to make a motion for that?
She made it.
Oh, she made it?
Yeah.
I did. So
Okay.
moved.
Okay, I have a second. Second by Kevin Davis. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, anything else,
Thank you,
Chris?
Mr. Mayor. I think Bill was talking about, well, I just said, I think Bill was talking about the new building, and we have also met with the architects and have another meeting scheduled for Friday at 10 a.m. to fine tune some things, so it's moving along as a board, as I hope, I think.
Okay. All right, thank you. Anything else?
Thank you. That's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, fire department, Mark.
Mayor, Board. Got just a few things to talk about. The first thing is our AFG, the Assistance to Firefighter Grant, was approved. That's one of the grants we put in for back in March. It It was for the washer and dryer and also an exhaust system. We were denied the washer and dryer at this time, but I'll explain in a minute why that may actually be a blessing. But what we got the grant for was an exhaust system for the trucks. What this does is anytime the trucks are started inside the building, they're hooked up and they suck all the fumes out and all the carcinogens. It's a health and safety portion of the grant. And then when the trucks leave, when they get to the door, it automatically unhooks and swings back in. The grant was $73,406. The federal part we got was $69,910.48. We need to match that with $3,495.52 in order to do that. So I'm asking permission to accept this grant. I do have to accept it. I have 30 days to accept it.
How much is the city?
The city's matching part is $3,495.52. The federal part is $69,910.48. This is kind of a specialty item. I've talked to a company up in Indiana, and there's like one more. So when I go out, send out for bids, it's not going to be a lot of return because it's a fully automatic system.
Now, motion by Johnson, second by Kevin Dale. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Any opposed?
That being said, we were actually one of 3 that made it through the first round and accepted and was awarded money, which is great for us, but it's also kind of disheartening for the rest of the state. So next week we're meeting, the association will be meeting in Biloxi, and we're going to try to attack this. We usually hit it earlier in the year, but the COVID stopped us. So I'll be with some of the other fire leaders in Biloxi next week, and we're going to try to come up with a plan where we can see if we can help some other departments in the state get some of this grant money in rounds 2 and further. So I'll be out a couple of days next week meeting with them. The second thing is the concrete pad at Station 2, and the mayor has actually gone over and looked at it. It's in 2 parts. It was built in '96, and in 2011, Steve had it replaced, part of it. And we're to the point now where the rest of it has to be or needs to be replaced. What it is back then when we first started, of course, the station and facilities and everything was fine, but the trucks were only 30,000 to 40,000 pounds then, but now we're at 50,000 and 60,000 pounds on trucks. And the front part of the pad is starting to cave in, and the culvert's starting to cave in. We're afraid we're going to pull out there one day and fall down in it. And so we're requesting to have that repaired. I've got 3 quotes, and the money, I've talked to Bill and the mayor, and we'd like to be able to use some of the bond money to repair that.
I got an estimate.
I do. I gave the quotes to Frankie a little earlier. Do you have them? I got some more if you need them. There was actually 3 quotes came in, and the low quote was $40,000.
Okay.
Now there is one thing about this that I want you to be aware of too, though. Johnny, you were on the board back then, so you remember what kind of hole that was and how we built it up. Well, when we replaced it back in 2011, we ended up having to go back in and do a lot of dirt work. But as we got closer to the road, the dirt got better. And so we feel like there's good dirt there and we don't have to worry about it. But there is actually a place in there in the event that we have to go back in and do some dirt work. It talks about it in that quote also. But at this time, we don't think we're going to have to. I just wanted to make sure you were aware of that up front. No surprises. Even so, the low quote, if they have to come in and do some dirt work, they're still the lowest quote. And Eric looked at this. I made sure we went by the specs that we did in 2011 to match it. And I've had Eric look over it and make sure everything, was on the up and up and squared like it should be, and there was no surprises. And we feel like that we're ready to go with it before something happens. It's got to be orchestrated really well because it could take about a week. And so that means that we're not going to be able to put trucks in that station. 2 options. One, we can talk to across the street at the dentist and see if we can park there, time being, or we're just going to have to move everything to Station 1 for 1 week, which is probably what we'll end up doing. So we'd like to do it while it's still warm and maybe through the dry times where the trucks aren't subject to anything if we do decide to stay outside with them over there rather than at Station 1.
I remember the other part where there'd been a lot of gumbo mud under, or dirt, which in the winter turns to mud.
Yeah. And that's the thing about it. Like I said, the closer it got to the road, the dirt was really looking better. Of course, there was so much fill back in that back part. Kevin Daly, I think you probably remember it too. But we're to the point now, if we don't fix it, it's only going to get worse and could do some damage to some trucks.
All right, we got a motion by Kevin Dale to move forward with up to $40,000. We'll have a second. Second by Johnny. Any other questions or discussion?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
And then I sent you out an email talking about the expansion at Station 2. Again, it was built in 1996, and at that time, everything was great. There was plenty of room, but since then, we're getting to the point where we've outgrown it. And we're looking now at some possibilities. I want to kind of put everything into planning stages right now. And what we're wanting to do is add a 30 by 60 rear portion to the station. And in that 30 by 60 portion, we're looking at a bed hall and a workout room as the major parts, with another bathroom and a laundry room that actually exits out into the bay, where when the guys get back from a call, they can walk from the truck into the laundry room, get out of those clothes, and then go into the living quarters and not contaminate the living quarters with anything as far as carcinogens. The second part of this is what we really noticed during the COVID, whenever we started trying to separate everybody out, and that station is so small. When they're in the day room, during the daytime, they're inches from each other. The chairs are right up against each other, so there's no way for them to get safe distance. At nighttime, they're sleeping 2 to 3 foot apart, and so the expansion and the way we've got it planned, we can actually spread everything out, and the beds will have 6 foot between them. What we're looking at is that, and then also some severe weather safety rooms to put in Station 1 and Station 2 for protection of the guys.
And that was gonna be fire protection money.
Yeah, and what I was looking at was taking the fire protection money for the shell of the building. And that'll be the biggest part of it, we think. But take the fire protection money, because that's something we can use that money for. And the way we've got it now, we're looking for this building to last us 20, 30 years if we do it like this and do it right the first time. So we want to make sure that who follows us doesn't look back and say, what were they thinking? We want to make sure they look back and say they were planning well ahead for us. But yeah, we want the shell to be paid for out of fire protection, and then to finish it out with HVAC, heating and air and plumbing. We're doing it separate because we feel like we can save money by doing it separate rather than putting in a turnkey project. So what I'm asking for is to move forward to just accept bids on the building, and let's see what we've got and go from there.
We'll have a second. Kevin Dale, any other questions or discussion? All in favor?
And the last thing is something real small, actually. A couple of years ago, Steve and I had asked to put some air packs on .gov to sell, but the market's flooded with them. We never could find a good time, and the bottles are outdated. We can't sell the bottles anyway, and some of the county departments are really in need of some air packs, and all they're doing is sitting at the station and collecting dust. We can't use them. So what I've got is 10 air packs, 8 masks, and all I want to do is be able to sell them to the county departments for whatever we can basically get out of them, which is probably between $100 to $700 depending on which ones they are. But yeah, they're no good to us anymore, and they might be able to help them out.
Why could we not use them as county can? What's the difference?
Well, what they'll have to do is they'll have to take them and buy new bottles. And we're using MSA air packs now, and these are Scots, and they don't play together. We actually, and we got our grant back in 2016, 2017. We went to MSA because it was a lot better pack, and these packs have been here since probably the late 90s, and then some of them were bought in like 08. But the bottles, once the bottles are out of date, 15 years old, they're composite bottles, and we can't use them. And we would have to invest money in bottles, and then they don't kind of interact with, they don't work well with each other on the MSA. They're not interchangeable.
And we got the new ones with a grant or something.
We did. We got the new ones. We got $112,000 to get the last ones. So
you want permission to
I want permission to sell them, yeah, to our Union County departments. I'm not talking about outside. I'd rather see them get them and get some use out of them. And, you know, with, obviously, with grant money being short, I know that there was at least 2 departments in the county that put in for grants and they didn't get them, and they were for air packs. So I feel sure that they would love to be able to get their hands on them. And they're gonna have to take them, and when they get them, then they'll have to have them checked, and then they'll also have to buy bottles, and a bottle's gonna be about $400 to $500. So they'll have about $600 in the pack, or, you know, whichever pack they get. We got a couple of packs that will bring a little more, because they're a little newer.
Got a motion by Keith to move forward with that. Second by Kevin Dale. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. All right, you got,
That's all I got.
all right, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Building inspector.
I emailed the monthly report. We didn't have a zoning meeting this month. On the code enforcement side, I got a request to tow 2 vehicles. And one is a black Pontiac at 834 Forest Heights. One is a white Nissan at 206 Thomas Circle. And Reagan, I'll let you look at this.
How long have you been sitting here today?
Reagan just took my paperwork.
What was the question?
When did we send the letters out?
The last one was sent out July 16th. First one was early June. So one of them barely got 10 days, or maybe a little more, but one of them's way over that.
Yeah.
So you want permission to tow?
Yes, sir.
What's the address again?
834 Forest Heights and 206 Thomas. Sorry.
How long's it been there?
I don't know how long they've actually been there, but some. One of them, the letter was about 6 weeks ago, and the other one was first in July.
Yeah, July 16th and June the 3rd.
And June the 3rd.
Okay. Okay.
All right, what's the will of the board on those 2 vehicles? A motion by Kevin Dale, have a second. Second by Will. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Aye.
Okay, here we go.
We got a hearing, a property hearing on 530 Church Street on the condemnation. There's been no power on at this property in over 10 years. And I have the pictures and all of the letters we sent. And the owner did receive the letters and signed them.
This is the last one?
Yes. And we did publish it in the paper.
All right, so that was about a month out, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Hearing set for the night.
Yeah, the hearing is set tonight.
Anybody here concerning 530 Church Street? And you're asking for condemnation? What's the will? Motion by Kevin Dale, have a second by Johnny. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor?
Well, let me ask you, you asked for condemnation. Are you asking for permission to demolish after 30 days of giving them opportunity as well?
Yes.
So can I ask y'all to redo the motion, including that approval of demolishing it?
You want to demolish it? Yeah, at the end of 30 days. All right. Someone, you want to second? Okay, we got a motion and a second for that effect. All right, any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, here.
The Civic Center repairs. The Civic Center here, the stucco on the front is 20-something years old whenever it was remodeled. So the stucco is actually wore down due to weather and it's letting water in. Y'all can look in the other room and see where we tore the wall out. I've got 2 estimates for that to be repaired. One of them was from FL Crane and one of them was McClure Construction here. FL Crane was $18,305, and that did not include repairing the wall that we tore out, because I got him to get a bid before that. But the McClure Construction was $18,425, and it actually included repairing the wall in here and coating the back side of the marquee up there. That it needs to be re-tarred. It's basically brick and it's been tarred, and the tar's coming off and it needs to be recoated too. So that's kind of a emergency repair, I guess you'd say.
What was it, 18 what?
18,425 and 18,305, but like I said, the McClure bid included more. If you was just comparing apples for apples, McClure bid is $15,699 and the FL Crane is $18,305.
All right, now motion with Johnny to repair it. Have a second.
Second, that we go clear, Johnny?
Yeah. I did the one with second.
Got a starting date on that here?
All right, what funds do y'all think you want it to come out of? I'm not sure the Civic Center has enough in there, do they? That's it, y'all.
Renovation fund?
Civic Center.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
can I ask you a question? Would it be this year's budget or would we go into next year's budget?
Well, it would be this year because it needs repairing. It's an emergency repair.
Like right now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Where do we have funds to do that?
It's in there for tourism, back to Civic Center.
It's in the Civic Center, I guess renovation fund, is that what you call it? You hear that name, Civic Center renovation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So is that where we're gonna get it from?
Yeah, so. All right, any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Will, you motion, you second. Is that right, Vice President? You second? I made the motion, yeah. Okay, motion carries.
That's all I got.
All right, thank you. Okay,
I go back up to Parks and Rec, I sent y'all out some information. He had got 2 quotes on a grasshopper lawnmower he's trying to get in this budget year. And I sent out some information to y'all, and I think Frank got the quotes, or he said he brought them by. He couldn't be here tonight, but he asked me if I'd bring that up. He's trying to trade in 2 Skags, old Skag mowers, and buy 1 new grasshopper from McKinsey down here in Albany.
Is there anything wrong with the old one?
they're just, he
Worn out.
says they're worn out. I don't know.
They're about the only ones we could get the bid on. Maybe.
Yeah, but McKenzie was the only one who would take the trade
Take
in.
the trade.
The other guy bid on it, but he wouldn't take the trade. I think when the dust settles after the trade in, it's about a little over $6,000. That's maybe.
I see.
Okay, you making that form of motion?
I would,
Okay. Have a motion with Johnny to carry on with the mower. We have a second. Second by Keith. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, let's move to item 4, routine business, which is approval of claims dockets and approval of 2020 minutes, July 7th, 2020. And then, unless somebody has an update on Railroad Bridge and Starling Avenue traffic light, we can consider a motion to approve the routine business. Motion by Will, have a second? Second by Keith. All right, let's move on to the action agenda. Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor? Any opposed?
Aye.
Thank you, Johnny. Let's move on to the action agenda. On number B, Bill's already taken care of. A is the street overlay discussion. Johnny's supposed to meet another guy with, they have 2 companies in this area that will do spot paving, so he's gonna meet up with Murphy's R2 and see what they'll do. And basically, he'll just show him everything we want done and let him give us a price. We're gonna mill a lot of it ourselves, you know, with the new skid steer and the new milling head that goes on that skid steer. So he's gonna meet up with him and see where we can get that, or what price we can get it at.
That's just for spot paving, or is that?
No, that's for all of it. I talked to Barrett up at Silver Link, and he did deposit. I said, I kind of drug my feet, but he said, I will get y'all something to basically tell what we're gonna do this year. He'd like to do it in writing, get us to approve. I told him he needs to hustle up. He says he's got the, not the overlay, what's it called? Where they just the street, I forgot the name, but he's got them set up for this. Cape Seal, yeah. He got them set up for this fall, but on the ones we're gonna overlay, he wants to, because they wanna have somebody there to inspect. And he is, I talked to him last week, but I still haven't heard from him. So I'll try to call him back tomorrow and kind of punch him up. Okay, item C is a 3-way stop sign. Johnny, you want to?
Yeah, and I may need, is Chris still on too?
Hey, Chris, you still on there?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay, Johnny was wanting you to ask a question.
Yeah, Chris, we were looking at, I know we tried to figure out how to slow traffic down on Starling between Bratton Road and the 3-way stop at the at Walmart. Before we put a 3-way stop down there at Tractor Supply, which was not a good location because of the exit at Allegave, it was bottlenecking traffic. So I had asked some of them to look and see if maybe the second entrance or to Lowe's might be a good spot for a 3-way stop. But I don't know, I'm sort of grasping at straws to see what might be the best option. Maybe, writing some tickets or lowering the speed limit. I'm not sure if it's 45 on that street. If it is, it may be a little fast with all the businesses. And just maybe sort of get your thoughts and see what you think.
Did you hear all that, Chris?
Yes, yes, it is. I'm not, that's a pretty good stretch there between, the three-way stop on Bragg to the first intersection there at Walmart. And depending on how many more businesses going down there, that may affect it in the future for sure. Tell you what, John, you'll let me go down there and look and watch traffic a little while, and I would probably be able to make some better suggestions, but we'll try to control it with, traffic enforcement. But, as far as putting another traffic, stop down in, I'm not sure where one would be any better than another, or one would be a little better versus another, versus the entrance at Lowe versus where it was the other.
Okay. Yeah, let's just delay doing anything on that tonight, and if you can take a look at it, maybe me and you get together and we might bring it up next month.
Certainly, just let me know.
Okay, thank you, Chris.
Yes, sir.
Item D is the authority to publish a notice for a public hearing on this upcoming next budget year, 2021. And, you know, we have to post it in the paper, or publish it in the paper once a week. Is that, when do you normally send it? 2 weeks from now? Okay. We need authority to post it.
You know, if you post it, you're posting either I'm not raising taxes or I am. And if you don't say that you are, you can't. Of course, school taxes will go up regardless, but.
Well, Lynn, did you say you attended their meeting last night?
They said they didn't foresee a tax increase. That's what Suzanne said.
Well, they may not see a tax increase, but we may have a smaller tax base, which requires an increase to get the same amount of money. Because we lost a couple of factories.
Okay.
So,
Well, I got a motion by Johnny, have a second. Second by Will. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, budget, motion carries. All right, item E is something I put on there. Varnish Frazier was parked under a tree down here at the park, and a limb fell out of a healthy tree, it looks like, and damaged her car. It hit it right on the windshield post, so it's our liability company said that they weren't gonna pay because they couldn't see any negligence on the city's behalf. I mean, the tree didn't look dead. We did, you know, when we had them graded a year or so ago, it graded a 4 out of 5. So I argued with them a little bit, and I said, well, look, it wasn't a perfectly healthy tree, it wouldn't have graded 4. And we had one 2 weeks before that they paid, so I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the reason is. But anyway, they're not gonna pay us. They sent the letter out to her, and we got a copy at City Hall. And so I asked her, the estimate was like $2,900. And I asked her if $1,200 would satisfy her, if we could pay her for the car, and then she could do what she wanted to with the car and trade for whatever she wanted to. And she said yes. So I guess that's what I'm asking for. What do y'all want to do with this?
What kind of car is it, Mark?
What kind of car? It's a like a 2003 little Corolla. I mean, it's in bad shape. She was sitting in the vehicle when it failed. And my argument with them was, well, that's our part, and she was in a designated parking spot. And how can you say, I thought liability was on your property, liability coverage.
No, not really.
My experience with trees, if it's an actual nature, then it's not nobody's fault. My experience, I'm gonna say that's why the insurance denied it, is because they didn't see us to be liable or them either.
I think it's generally only your fault if you did something negligent, like you knew the tree was a danger.
tree graded bad?
It was rated 4 out of 5. It wasn't totally healthy, but it was a pretty good tree. I told her I'd do whatever, you know, I'd bring it to y'all.
How much is it?
$1,200 is what, I mean, the cars, I don't know if she can get a car for $1,200, but, you know, the estimate was like $2,900. So she agreed to take $1,200 if
I just don't think, we can't, and so are we legally liable? I couldn't hear what Reagan said. I mean, legally, are we liable for that? I know it's our property and the tree fell, but
Generally, no. There could be certain tax situations which you might be liable, and it would be up to a court to say. But generally, unless you knew a tree was a danger and didn't warn people, then you're not going to be liable for a tree fall.
Did you hear him?
okay, yeah, I did. I don't think we should do anything on it.
I agree. If our insurance denied it, I don't think that's what we have insurance for.
We got a motion to pay it.
Second.
No, I said, do we have a motion? We haven't got one.
You got a motion.
So you're gonna make a motion to pay it for $1,200? Do I have a second on that?
What's this lady's situation? I mean, I don't know. I don't know her.
Right now, she's walking. Of course, her complaint is, one of them is she's got doctor's appointments and she can't get to them right now. Her brother works, somewhere in Pontotoc, he can take her if he can arrange, but that's her complaint.
So the limb falling on the vehicle made her car undrivable?
Oh, yeah, it crashed. It hit right on the windshield post, and of course, it shattered the windshield. And you can't put another windshield in it until you fix that post, and that's just a lot of labor. So it's like, the estimate's $2,900, well, the car's not worth that. I've got a motion with Kevin Dale to have
You know what they need? You know that?
I know these folks.
They call them big sis and little sis. I don't know. That's how I've always heard. It was one of the sisters. They're twins, apparently. Johnny's, yeah.
Probably concerned about doing something is, if you do it for her, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it could open up a can of worms, you know. But I don't know her. I don't know her situation or anything. You know her situation? Okay, then.
She's sick. Can't get to the doctor's office because of the vehicle. And it puts it on us, I think.
Her financial situation isn't good.
My thought, can I
Sure, go ahead.
say something? Okay, so my thoughts are just that we're not liable legally, is what Reagan said. And if I were parked at, let's say, University of Mississippi and a tree fell on my car, do y'all think that the University of Mississippi would pay me for that? I mean, would other businesses, I don't know, I'm just trying to figure out, like, if we're not really liable. I'm not trying to, I just want to do the right thing here, but if we're not liable?
She has.
Well, I can't answer that.
When she claims you're liable, it'd be a hard claim to prove. Court would more than likely say that you're not liable, but it's an uncertain claim at this point. If you want to sell it, you can settle it. You can settle it as a doubtful claim, and so you have a right to do that. But I can't really say that I recommend paying her because I'm afraid you'll just get copycat claims like that.
You're afraid what?
I think you're just
Okay.
taking a bad precedent.
I think, yeah, if you set a precedent, that's going to lead to a lot of other.
Do we have a lot of city employees?
Yeah, and one of them was parked down to City Barn and the limb fell out. I told the guy, Jackson, I said, we've never had this before, and we had 2 in 2 weeks apart. They paid his, but they said it looked like there was a bad limb over there. But now
They paid his.
they did pay the one that the street department employee was sitting under, and it broke out, and it hit him about the same place on the windshield post.
Well, what was their reasoning for not paying hers?
Because they didn't see where the city had been negligent. Yeah, the only thing they had was the tree graded a 4 out of 5 when we had them graded a couple of years ago. They couldn't show where the city knew the tree was bad and didn't do anything about it. Basically, is what they said.
Reagan, would you have recourse to ask them to reconsider that claim, or, I mean,
Our insurance?
yeah.
I
Would
think
it do
that-
any good to write a letter and ask them to reconsider that they did this one, why not do that other one?
I could definitely talk to them and see what their
Yeah, that's the
position is.
reason for the other one. How about that?
Yeah, I could ask them what their position is. And I don't
Mr.
know.
Mayor, did one of the board members ask for what her situation was?
Yeah, you'll know it better. Yeah, you can tell us that.
Okay, I actually went down to the park that day when the 911 call came out, and she was actually taken to the hospital to try to get all the glass out of her hair and so forth. But her name is Bernice Biddle. She's one of them. She has an identical twin sister, Bernice and Bernice. This is Bernice. Bernice probably sits down in the park most every day eating lunch or to some hour. She's there a lot, and the vehicle is like a 2001 Dodge Neon. And Mr. Mayor's right, correct. The death was way more than probably the car's worth. But she sits there a lot of days, and she eats her lunch there, and she spent a lot of time at Bishop Park. I've been in there and seen her several times. So patrolling. She also is like a very little mean, and probably is 100% depends on Social Security type thing. She does not work.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Is there an agency or a nonprofit or something that could help her in this situation? I don't want us to set a precedent of, I don't know that I'm not saying she doesn't need help. I just don't know that the city is responsible for helping her.
Good Samaritan might, but I can ask the insurance. They might make her a lower offer. They might just do that as a nuisance claim.
Well, I didn't tell them what, after I talked to them, I just called her and said, look, they're not gonna pay it. And they also sent a letter, and $1,200 what she agreed on.
Did you check on that record?
Sure. I'll see what they say.
I said you, Kevin Dale, you're on the senior motion. Okay. Reagan's going, did you hear that, Amy? Okay.
I did.
All right. Okay, let's move on. Item F, the people at the rubbish site, landfill of ours, has asked for a generator. Randy McDaniel said he had a camper he could pull down there because it gets very hot out there, extremely hot all day. They don't have any trees to get under it. He has requested if we'd buy a generator and let them borrow it during this hot time. I checked with Reagan to see what the legality was. And as you know, if we put it on our inventory, this is legal to let them use it, according to Reagan. So I told him I'd ask the board. That was an unusual request.
We have city employees, I mean,
We got
he's a contractor, right? But we do have city.
We got one city employee that we pay that works out there. And yeah, he's contractor. And we checked, and Eric and I did, and the generator they thought they wanted was $1,200. Is that right, Eric? $1,200. So that's up to y'all. I just told him it's so unusual. We do have an employee out there at the city that works for the city. but he's a contractor, so. I can tell you, it gets very hot out there. There's no trees anywhere. And now lately, it hadn't been bad this week, but last week and week before was pretty bad.
So we don't have another generator in the city that,
I don't know if one, you know, the police department got one from the surface, but it didn't, it cranked wrong, but it wouldn't generate anything. It was gonna cost a lot to fix it. I got a motion to Johnny to buy the generator and loan it to them. Put it on the city inventory. Do I have a second?
and that would be something obviously we could use for other things when that wasn't being.
Yeah, I mean, we could go get it whenever we need it. It's gonna be the city's.
Second.
All right, got a second by Keith. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Okay, Amy, I think, did you put fire chief appointment on here? Or did who? Who did that?
I did.
Okay, I'll let you have it.
I did, but Kevin, Dale, and I talked about it. Okay, or Katie, do you want to take it or you want me to?
I take, I think we,
Okay.
waited enough time on the fire chief job. We know that, at this time, Mark is serving as our assistant chief. He took the place of Steve when he got sick. He kept that fire department going and did a bunch of things for us. And had a bunch of phone calls from a lot of guys that work for the fire department, New Albany Fire Department. And they are very pleased with the job that Mark has done. And I think that at this time, we need to move on with the position of fire chief and appoint Mark Whiteside as the fire chief and Mark Side as assistant chief. I make that a motion.
Mark, I don't want to make you uncomfortable. You want to leave while we talk?
I really would.
Okay, thank you.
Get out, Mark.
Just so y'all know, if walking out, hiring is done in open meeting, but if you want to discuss Mark's performance, you can do that in executive. So I just want to let you know that.
I don't want to do that.
What did Reagan say?
He said, you know,
What did
hiring,
Reagan say?
okay, hiring is an open meeting process, but we could discuss his performance in executive session if we wanted to do that. And maybe not necessarily just his performance, but I think the whole scenario.
In my opinion, we opened it up and received applications, and through COVID has kind of postponed all this and have not had a chance to. I don't think it would be fair to the city or the department nor the applicants if we don't interview, in my opinion.
Did you hear that, Amy?
No, say it again, but tell me.
Well, Will said in his opinion, we opened it up for applications, and we've got some, and he didn't think it'd be fair to the city or the department or the applicants if we just went ahead and appointed one. I guess you want to go ahead and interview.
Yeah, move forward with interviewing as soon as we can, whether we got to wear masks or.
Will's, he thinks we need to interview, even if we all have to mask up, which we will, while we're interviewing. And
How many applicants do we have?
we got about 6, but now 2 of them from like out of state somewhere. And I think we probably got 3 from the area that's got prior experience, maybe. Well, one of them.
So how is the interview process?
Well, if we don't do it tonight and go ahead and, I mean, if we, I agree, we did open up the process, and if we, I mean, I wanted to go ahead, the reason I put it on there is I'm ready to, we need to go ahead and get this done, and we've talked about it for like 3 or 4 months, 4 months. So can we have a special session next week or something and do interviews and then just knock it out?
What was your question, Keith?
I was asking how the interview process would go. Would it be all of us?
Yeah,
Or would it just be?
it'd be better if it's entire board.
Okay, well, you could do personnel, but of course you got open meeting, you do entire board.
Yeah.
What's the legality of that, Megan? I mean, I guess we have the authority, we can do it either way.
You can do it either way.
You mean personnel or entire board?
Well, that too, but I was meaning the
Vote tonight, not
seeking,
interview or
choosing to interview them or not is an option. It's not required by law.
I'll second Kevin Dillon's motion.
On Mark. All right, we got a second by Johnny. To move on with Mark.
I don't understand.
To appoint Mark, Johnny said appoint Mark.
He seconded Kevin Dale's motion.
Okay.
And Will said he was abstaining. So, we got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Well, I'm in between because, wait a minute, hold on, because I feel like we need to interview everybody, but I want to go ahead and get it done. I think we should appoint Mark. I think Mark should do it. He's been the assistant chief. I think he's the one that needs to be it. I mean, I hate that we opened it up for others, and I feel bad about that, but I do think it needs to be Mark, so I'm going to say aye.
All right, any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it, so the motion carries. And when y'all want to make this effective? Tonight? Tomorrow? Or whatever?
When's payroll start?
Monday? That'd probably be easier. Make it effective Monday. We'll make it effective Monday. All right, the motion carries. I have on here a COVID update. I mean, I don't know what to tell you except the numbers are through the roof. I did call H.F. Mason the other day just to kind of get his feel of it, and he was very concerned with enough people not wearing masks, but he's more concerned with social distancing. He thought that was a big key that he hadn't been seeing. So, and then y'all heard the governor today. Reagan was going to look at the executive order and see exactly what it said.
I haven't seen the order, but I see that he's made the mask mandated statewide.
Okay. The governor made the mask mandatory statewide.
I would, statewide? Yeah, that's what it says on internet. I would point out that one of our last aldermen lost his father-in-law to COVID last weekend, or the weekend before last. Dr. Gadlock passed away.
Oh, yeah. He did. So I'm sure we all know several, or more than a couple.
I would like to say, Tim, I think from a board standpoint, I don't know if we need our like Tracy to do it because she's our media person or what, but I do think we've got to do some kind of push for business, so they know it's coming from us as a board to recommend social distancing, continue to wear masks. I mean, if businesses don't enforce it, it's not going to happen. So it is now a state mandate. And so now everyone, to go in a business, you're supposed to wear a mask. And then when you're out and walking down the street, just social distance. He did recommend for people not to attend funerals, not to attend weddings, but he didn't make that mandatory. He just said that. And then schools, as far as I know, they're going back, they start back normally. However, there's some that 7th through 12th, and some counties are not going to be starting back yet. They're going to go virtual. We're not one of those counties. We're going back. Everybody's going back. But I know that a lot of our teachers don't think we'll go very long. They don't think they'll go very long. They think, because it's definitely spreading. It's everywhere. So from a city standpoint, I'm not saying well, it's now state mandated, so it is a law now. But we have to encourage people to wear masks. It's just everywhere I go inside, I rarely go in a store in New Albany, and that's why I'm Zooming tonight, because nobody wears them. And so I wear them, and people look at me like I'm crazy, but I shouldn't say nobody. but it's not the norm. And so I just think we've got to do something from a city standpoint to recommend. So I don't know what we can do, but I wish we could find a way to recommend it from a city standpoint, to do a little more media or something to say, please be safe. And didn't you say in City Hall you're putting up plexiglass, you block the doors?
Yeah, we had three, I think, was walk in that they had a positive at that address. We don't get the names, but we get the addresses. So we had three that walked into, two one day and one the next. And the addresses sometimes are a little late. So we got it after they left, a day after, and somebody at their address had been tested positive. So last week we decided to lock the doors, and we got a slot in one of the doors just to deal with the public through. Because obviously they don't care. I mean, they knew they had a positive test there. So, and we've...
Well, and I haven't been perfect. I'll be the first. I mean, there's no way to be perfect. I just wish we could encourage people to wear masks and social distance.
Well, we've done
I
that.
We could do a little bit more, or just be a little bit responsible.
Yeah, we've done that a couple of times on social media. Now that it's a state mandate, maybe that'll help. My question is, how do you enforce it? Or who's going to enforce it? So.
It's very hard to do.
Yeah. And we'll let Reagan.
Well, I hope businesses will.
The order's not online yet.
Huh?
The order's not online yet.
Okay, Reagan said the order's not online, but he's gonna read it. I'd rather see it in writing. And I listened to the governor today, and that's basically what he said, is what you said. I think there may have been 10 counties. You say, Eric, that 8 or 10 that he only mandated to delay the start of school. But I don't know. If anybody tells you they know that they're not being truthful, because nobody knows what to do at this point, except be safe.
No. I do hope I wish our schools the best this week as they go back, and I really hope if there's anything we can do as a city, I hope we can support them.
All right, let's move on to item I, is the mobile food ordinance. Eric or Reagan, if y'all want to take this, what do we add to it different?
I didn't look at today enough to give you a synopsis. But Eric, do you have something you want to say?
No, it's basically the same. The only thing we changed was on where it talks about the mobile vendor approval from the city fire inspector. The only thing we changed was, are his designated personnel or code enforcement, basically. So it just wouldn't have to be the city fire inspector in case he was not available.
It does require that they not stay overnight unless maybe they're there for a festival. There are certain exceptions for festivals and things like that. It's a list of things they have to do when they apply. It's good for a year, I believe.
A year, yeah.
What was it $250? Was that what it was? $250. And
they have to be home at midnight, right? Was that?
Yeah.
I believe it was midnight. They have to have.
12.
They have to maintain insurance. Other than that, we took a lot of what was in the other one, and we trimmed out what we could to make it simpler, shorter, easier to read.
Right.
They have to have a cert, say.
They already have to have
They
that.
have to have
That we mentioned that, it's a part of our application. Any licenses they have to have, they give us a copy of that too.
Are we,
Is there a copy even in my email? I'm looking, I don't see it.
I think Reagan sent the differences today, or Eric?
No, I didn't today. Last time I sent it was before the last meeting.
And the only thing that changed was that one thing I just mentioned about the inspection on it.
Yeah, the only thing that changed on it or added to it was the inspection from the building inspector or his designee.
So that was just a today change?
Yeah.
So if you want to approve it, they need to approve it with that change.
Right.
Okay.
They need what?
Approve it with that one change,
Okay.
rather than the one last month.
Did you hear the change, Amy?
No, I'll tell you, I mean, a little bit about the building inspector and his designee, say it, read it to me, Tim.
Well,
I wanna read it myself.
It's on, it came in July 2nd, so you should have it.
No, I saw that, but I just, the changes, I'm sorry, I'm looking, hold on. Go ahead and say it. The one thing my big questions are, they do go home every day, right?
Yeah.
They have to go home every day. They have to pay for a permit.
$250.
They have to pay taxes and show that they did all that. Okay, and then my biggest concern, and it's Sunday, it's every day of the week they can do it, right?
She say.
They go on Sunday, in other words.
Yeah, every day.
Yeah, every day, 7 days a week.
And my other question is there something in there, because I looked at it, but it's been a minute. Is there something in there that says there could be special circumstances to be downtown, and if we wanted to do it like after a Magnolia Civic Center or Civic Center performance, or there's special circumstances where we could have food trucks in different places and all that?
Yes.
Yeah, it's not required for the city of
They can do special.
Okay, so the only place you can't have them, where are the places you can't have them? Residential?
Residential.
That's just normal zoning. We allowed in commercial and industrial.
Industrial, yeah.
Well, the only two places they are allowed is commercial and industrial.
On city property. has to be
Okay,
approved.
but not in C, but can we have it in C1?
On private property.
If it's on private property, if it's anything on city property, we'd have to approve each circumstance. I mean, like a
Gotta be a
festival.
special circumstance, okay, just making sure. Okay, but some of our current food trucks that are around town the way this is gonna affect them, there's some that we know are set up permanently, so they're just gonna have to start going home, right?
Right.
Yeah.
If they want to be treated as a food truck, they do. If they want to be treated as something else, they can make that claim.
Did you hear what Reagan said? If they want to be considered
Okay.
as a food truck.
I did.
And the only thing was adding, and if you adopt it tonight, it'll be with that addition that the building inspector or his designee will have to inspect before they can open it. You know, I guess that'd be yearly, wouldn't it?
Okay,
So their permit is good for a year.
okay.
What about the?
And I just want to clarify the reason why we're doing this, because
That was taken out.
That was removed,
sorry.
making sure.
I was fine with the state regulations, but the reason why we need to make those stricter and have a municipal code is because I'm waiting to hear why.
She's asking.
Just because every other city does it, and we just don't need a food truck on every corner just setting up anywhere.
I would just say that you just have
Okay, well, don't want to do it just because every other city does it. I don't like that reason. But, I'm just saying, I'm going to do it because, the only reason we need ordinances is if we need to make a law stricter than the state. And so I'm trying to make sure we need to make a law stricter than the state. So I'm trying to make sure while we're doing that.
Well,
Reagan's got another answer.
two things. Number one, it was all focused on safety, number one. So that was to enhance safety.
What do you
for
say?
benefit.
To enhance safety is number one.
Number two is you want businesses run in a way that promotes your city, that things are efficient and done well, not in a haphazard manner.
And number two is you want a business to run in an efficient way that promotes the city, not in a haphazard way that would degrade from the city.
Okay. And number three, I do think we want to make sure when businesses are coming from other places and out of town and all that, that we are getting that tax money, right? I mean, we want to make sure we're getting
That's
the
in there,
money that we
yeah.
need. They pay a permit, we can regulate it, all of that, right? Because we wouldn't be able to regulate it if we didn't do that. right?
That's all in there. The only thing we're adding to it is.
No, I know, but I'm saying all this publicly because I think people will ask why we needed it, and I want to make sure we're stating why we need it. Safety is big because we need our fire codes and our code enforcer to be able to enforce laws, and that's one thing. 2 is the taxes and the money that we can get, and 3 is to be more efficient and all of that. I'm just making sure that the media is picking that up from while we're doing this. Okay, I move that we adopt it.
Anybody, she made a motion.
I want to hear what Will asked Reagan.
Making sure that there was a provision in there that required, you had to have a brick and mortar restaurant in order to have a food truck. That was removed. I'm just making sure that it was removed.
Yeah, we took that out.
We need a second before we discuss it anymore. We're gonna,
Who made the motion?
Amy made the motion, we accept it. Do I have a second? Second by Johnny. Any other questions now or discussion? If not, all in favor? Any opposed?
Aye.
She was voting for it. She made the motion then. Anybody opposed? If not, the motion carries. Unanimous.
Just as a reminder, it'll be effective in 30 days, not today.
Yeah, it'll be effective in 30 days and not today. Okay, let's go to item J. Three Rivers called me yesterday, and they got somebody who wants to go into Emerald Furniture. The county owns part of it, we own part of it. We own some of the land out there. But these people that's going in is going to create like 120 jobs, and MDA has agreed to give them the money to redo their roof. But the county can't apply because they're not up to date on their audit. And the ironic thing is the state does their audit. So they won't let them apply, but it's the same scenario we had last time. So Three Rivers has asked if we'd be the applicant on part. Well, they wouldn't tell me the name of the company, but it's going to be in the Emerald Building.
Are they out of that building?
They're talking to David Beckman. You know, he lives in Washington, and they're trying to buy that building or take up his lease, get him to sign his lease over to them. And they thought they was going to be able to do it, but if that company agreed, they want a roof. And the state has agreed from India. The state has agreed to pay for it. But the county can't apply for
So
it.
you're asking us to approve that we're the applicant?
Yeah.
So
And there'll be something to sign in September, but they're asking us right now to allow them to advertise for bids.
how many jobs is it?
120. I've got a motion by Keith. I have a second. Second by Kevin Dale. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, I got executive session on there. They just left over.
I know I have 2 things. They're both litigation oriented.
We need a motion to go into executive session for litigation purposes.
Hey, can I ask a question?
Sure.
What was the outcome?
Huh?
What was the outcome of when I was asked?
Man, you got voted down.
I would.
No, you good. It'll start affecting Monday, because that's when the payroll starts.
Oh, I can take off till Monday?
Whatever you want.
The motion had Mark Sides as move up to deputy chief. Was that correct?
That's how, yeah, that's how it was. Yeah. I was gonna tell you when we got through, but
I just wondered, I was sitting here really.
I figured you would. So let's get what we need. Okay, we got a motion to consider executive session to have a second. Second. Johnny, get the first motion, that's Kevin second.